Today, we're going to be talking about the GT, what is this? The GT710. Oh boy. So, why did I decide to make a video about the GT710 in 2018? Well, mainly because I'm already out of video ideas, and plus, I mean, this card I had this card ever since I started building computers, and this was actually the very first graphics card I ever owned. And I want to see how well it holds up in 2018. And yes, I know, this is not meant for gaming. This is meant to be like a display adapter just to run like your monitor or an extra monitor for your PC. But due to the specs it has, I believe it actually can run some games. The specs for the GT710 that I have right here is the following. 2 GB of DDR3 RAM, 192 CUDA cores, and a base clock of 954 MHz. So how am I going to be testing my GT710? Well, I'm going to be hooking it up with my Ryzen 7 1700 along with 8 GB of DDR4 RAM running at 3000 MHz, and testing if it can play some games such as Fortnite and GTA 5, and those are the only two games I'm going to be testing. So, yeah. So for our first game, we're going to be running Fortnite because Fortnite. So running it at the resolution of 720p with everything low and off, Fortnite was actually able to get a steady 30 FPS with lows of mid-20s, and it has been able to reach 40 FPS in low areas. So overall, this is a very playable experience, so this is actually very surprising. But I did decide to lower it to 360p and try out how bad it will play. And it actually has been able to reach over 60 FPS almost all the time, so it depends how you want to play the game and how much FPS you want to get. So for GTA 5, I wasn't expecting it to actually run at all, but surprisingly with everything low and off and at 720p, it actually was surprisingly pretty playable. But I did decide to run it at 800 by 600 just to see if it will increase it by any bit. But it did increase by a fair margin. It actually has been able to reach 40 FPS on average, but it did dip down to the mid-30s when things got somewhat intensive. So it really does depend what monitor you have and what resolution you want to play it at. But GTA 5 is fairly playable with the GT710. So, let's sum it up with the final answer. Should you go out and buy a GT710 right now? My immediate answer would probably be no. Unless you are in desperate need of a video card and your only option is a GT710, then I guess get a GT710. But if you're out there or you want to get a cheap budget graphics card that for like less than $30, you could probably get something much better than the GT710. You could probably find a GT730, which is much better than this, for probably around $30, which I would suggest if you have a very, very low budget. But if you can find one of these for like less than $15, and that's probably the max I would actually pay for one of these, then it might be a decent option if you have no other options, because this thing is actually not as bad as I thought. It actually can run Fortnite, GTA 5, not so much, but if you're gonna play really simple games like Minecraft, I'm not sure about Rocket League or CS:GO because I don't own those games, but Fortnite, if you want to get into the game, this thing can actually play the game if you turn all settings to like the bare minimum. So, final answer, I would not pay more than $15 for this. I really wouldn't even buy it at all unless you have no other options. But if you're in need of a display adapter, then this is not too bad of an option, if that's all you need. Hope you enjoy the video, and like, subscribe, and whatever that is. I don't even know why I did that. I'm just gonna go play Roblox.